we got to play Gingkopolis. This is a
Yeah,
tile.
right.
I've been practicing. All right, it is a tile placement, card drafting,
Area control.
build. Yeah, area control kind of important. I always forget that at the
Several
end.
different mechanics.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things going on with this game. Overall, you're building a city, and on that city, you can actually overbuild some of the smaller buildings. So that's kind of a very loose theme, I would say. So going into quality of pieces, you have your standard wooden chits. You've got these wooden cubes to be essentially, I think, your workers or your employees.
They call them resources, but they're generic resources.
Yeah.
It's very generic. You also have victory cardboard tokens. You have wooden cranes. And
cards. The cards are actually really nice stock. They got good texture to them.
Yeah, there's good linen finish on them.
But you're shuffling them many times during the game, so you're going to want to sleeve them if you're going to play this regularly.
Yeah.
And I believe these are standard Euro size.
okay, so
You
that
got
makes
your
sense.
little not great quality
Yeah,
cardboard.
it's a 5-player game, so they have 5 different color boards. That the only designation difference on the color is the actual logo of the name.
Yeah, I will say they've got purple.
Yes.
So
Well, the character's actually pink, but it looks
No,
purple
those are
on the
pink
player board.
resources.
But they match to the color of the player.
I can make them purple.
You can pretend they're purple.
So what do you guys give it a score wise?
I'd give it a 6. I mean, it's a
I feel
little,
comfortable with
a little
6.
bit better in Catan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 6 is appropriate for this game. So moving on to theme, we've already kind of touched base on the theme is that you're building a city and you're trying to, build it bigger and better.
Well, the
It's very loose.
actual book says 2212, so apparently this is in the future.
This is in the future.
Ginkgo the oldest and strongest tree in the world, which that's what they use for I think a while back about this magic, rub. I kind of like aloe, but that was like the
Well, it's supposed to help your memory too.
well apparently it didn't help mine. The oldest and strongest tree in the world has become the symbol of a new method of building cities in symbiosis with nature. So this is kind of like a hippie city type thing.
But 2012, 1 year.
22.
2212.
Oh, okay, 200 years from now. Got
And
it.
2012 would actually be in the past because we're in 2021.
Go that way.
It's been a couple of years, okay?
Yeah, but humans have exhausted the resources that the earth offered them, and humanity must now develop cities that maintain a delicate balance between resource production and consumption. However, habitable space is scarce, and mankind must now face the challenge of building ever upwards. To develop this new type of city, you will gather a team of experts around you, or us, and to try to become the best urban planner for Gingkopolis.
That's more than what I got out of playing that game.
That's the story.
Well, I mean, it is. I think it's very loose. I didn't realize they were futuristic, balancing, acting, whatever. And part of the game, I
Because
just
you
feel
didn't
like
look at the cards.
they're
Those
just,
definitely don't look like buildings from the past.
well, no.
That's
but-
2012 era.
All right, I could go 2012.
I mean, long story short, I think the theme is pretty loose on this.
Mhm.
I think it's just another civilization building game, which I'm completely okay with. Don't discourage me there because I love civilization or city building. So, overarching score, what do you guys think? I mean, the artwork, there's nothing. I mean, it's okay. It's just nothing fantastic.
I think it's a little bit better than that because I think the buildings look nice, but the characters on the resource cards that you get initially is pretty nice too. So,
Well, also,
and these look really nice.
also
And-
as you scale up, this is kind of like the one we saw with Claim, where
right,
the
look
lower the
better.
number city, the more underdeveloped it is, and as you move up to the 20, it becomes more
sprawling
progressively, more progressively developed. So they did take some time and care in that.
Yeah, I think I would give this at least a 7. I like it.
Yeah, I think
for
so.
theme.
Yeah.
I think 7's fair for this because of the time they did
Yeah.
put into the development of the cities. I mean, yes, it isn't important to the game at all. The game is really a quick and easy learn game of trying to do city development.
And the artwork is nice.
But the
on
art
these
is
cards.
they're nice
Who
drawings.
did the
of
artwork,
cities.
by the way?
The artist was, forgive me if I'm sure I'm mispronouncing this, Gail Lornarian or something like that. Designed by Xavier George but this was
Cabbage Patch Kids.
I think so.
That was Xavier Roberts one.
Close.
Yeah.
Originally released in 2012, this is a reprint that just came out this
Yeah.
year, but it is not a second edition like some people thought it was going to be. So nothing new. It's a strict reprint.
What was the price point on it?
It is $59.99. A little pricey.
That's a
Now
little pricey
that's
for this.
straight MSRP. You know, there are some websites that
I
can
paid
buy it a
$59.99.
little bit cheaper than the MSRP, but that's the MSRP
That
price.
seems a little pricey for this.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
what
for
the components
cardboard.
wise, yeah, it's definitely not a $59.99
Yeah.
value as far as components, but the gameplay we haven't got to yet.
All right, so you guys rated a 7 for theme. I guess if you insist.
Do I have to twist your arm?
It's your vote. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, you're murking. You do what you want.
I mean, it's a very loose game. I can't see this as any better than Catan really, because it's just
Okay.
an overlay of theme. So, I mean,
You're gonna
the
give it a five.
artwork's a little bit better, so I'll give it a 6, and that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay.
So, all
And
right.
that's okay.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. So moving on to rules.
All right, so the rule book, it's a very easy game to pick up. There's not a lot to the game.
Right.
There's only a few actions you can take. It's laid out very weird. So, I mean, I guess not horribly weird in the sense that you got setup and you got how to play, then you got in-game. But first of all, there's no cheat sheet for this, and there's a lot of iconography, which is already a problem. Secondly, they have a summary on the back, which is helpful, but this should have been a cheat sheet too. But if you use this as a cheat sheet, then you have to sift through and to find the
But
iconography
isn't
inside.
that your cheat sheet?
But here's the thing. There's
that
no
helps with some of
explanation.
this. Yeah, I mean, this
There's no words. It's just
this has
pictures.
the summary text that goes along with the pictures, which are on your sheet. So if you don't understand this iconography, you're going to reference this. But then if you want to know what the cards mean, you have to start going into the game and or the book and finding them. And then that's after the solitaire version, and so the end of games here, it's just you have to go sifting through the book when you need it. And this is something you're going to reference a lot, especially with new players, to know, okay, what is that bonus game in bonus going to do? What do the ongoing effects do? The ongoing effects are a little easier. Once you pick it up, you're going to need it. But the in-game bonuses, you're going to need a lot. And it's inside the book. I mean, it'd be nice if that were on a cheat sheet. They really should have.
Well, no, I mean, I think they just had an opportunity here with the player boards. And honestly, when we first bought this out and I didn't know the rules, I looked at it and
This
was
would
like,
make no sense to you.
it doesn't make any sense. And how is that helpful? So, for me, I always love rules or something with that cheat sheet that I don't need to read the rules to get by, because I don't listen to the rules when y'all talk about them.
It's true.
So.
Or ever.
That's true.
I'm going to give this one probably a 7, just because, I mean, it isn't that complex of a game.
And it's functional.
It's functional.
But
It's not badly worded. It's not mistranslations or anything like that. It's just laid out in a way that's going to cause you to have to sift through the book several times when you're playing to try to find what those in-game bonus cards mean.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to gameplay, I think this is where this game shines, or at least it did for me.
Which I'm really surprised by. But go ahead. I'll explain why I was surprised.
Area control?
Yes.
Okay.
That's because, if you notice, I didn't play with any of the area control bits, which is...
And that's why we didn't win.
I did.
But barely. I mean, you weren't that far above me, so...
Yeah.
The fact that you ended the game and I didn't realize it was the end of the game really
I
screwed me
think
up.
now I've thought about it for a few minutes. I think this game could be really brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to play that way, are we?
I think people's feelings can get hurt.
As far as the gameplay, how it plays out, you have a starting set of city tiles that range from 1 to 3, from 3 different colors, blue, yellow, and red. Blue tiles generate future tiles, so you can get additional city tiles. Yellow generate victory points. Red generate resources. Generic resources.
That was not what Randy called them. Called them cylinders.
Well, yeah, because they're generic
Right.
resources.
I thought they were workers, to be quite honest.
They're called
with you.
resources in the book.
They feel like workers.
We call them cylinders. They don't look like the meeples, so I don't call them workers.
Yeah, but you're like putting them places to work the area.
To mark that you're occupying that area, yes,
The
but
wooden
not that you're
bits.
working it. So there's letters representing A through L around the board that are to mark where you could do a future build. Or you have the action of playing a card to go upward and build on top of a tile that's already there. Or you can play the card just to gain additional stuff, whether it's resources or additional tiles or victory points. So you have those three abilities. You also have some starting cards that give you basic bonuses when you take one of those three actions, and you can accumulate them so they stack. Each time you build an upgrade over a tile, you get the card for the tile you overbuilt, so it adds to your pool of stacking, so you can get more bonuses when you
It's your
take
tableau
those
building.
actions. So you have kind of an engine building system in this game, but it's a very basic one. There's nothing real complex about it. The higher tiles, when you overbuild those, you can get in-game bonus scores, points for it. That's really all there is to it. Each turn, you're going to get 4 cards. You're going to pick one. You're going to pass the other 3 to the next player for the next round. You play your tile or card in one of those 3 fashions: to build on top of a tile, to build adjacent to a tile using the letters, or to gain resources or.
But where the
tiles.
game can become brutal is when you overbuild. You can overbuild any tile. So
Yep.
I can overbuild Randy's tile, and what happens is you have to mark the tile that you build with one of your cylinders, resources, call it whatever you
For
want.
each floor,
for each floor that's up. So your first one's just 1. So if I build on top of that, he gets his back, and I put 2 on top of it. Now Miranda could overbuild mine by doing a level 3, so I get my 2 back, and she puts 3 on it.
But you get victory points for being overbuilt.
Yes.
So you get a return. Plus you get those
But
resources
then at the
back
end of the
to use.
game is where the area control part comes
Yes.
into play for sections, and that's where most of the points are going to occur in the game, and that's where it becomes brutal.
I beg to differ, because I got most of my points not in that. I mean, and I was
You got most of the points from us building over your stuff.
Well,
No.
she had an engine going where she was generating a bunch
Right.
of victory point tokens. And that's the thing. There's a lot of ways you can win this game. I don't think there's one. I don't think the area control is going to be that dominant always, but it is important. And I think,
Yeah, you do have to keep that in consideration. I
think that's where you probably suffered this game, because I don't think you really focused on that aspect.
Well,
of
no,
it.
I focused a little bit on it, but the thing is, at the very end, you built over my key.
Mm-hmm.
The few key places that I did have, which then totally screwed me over. I will say the thing about this is not all cards are equal. So last game, I played using a strategy of the placing on the outer rim, but this time all the cards I ended up getting were the spend a card to get those, spending a card without overlaying or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that was nearly as powerful versus the other, because I couldn't get my tokens on the board, and I essentially wasted turns getting resources to be able to play it the next round.
I thought yours
versus before, I was able to just keep laying tiles out.
I thought
And
yours
so I think
was
that's
way
it.
more powerful, because I got a wide mix of a little bit of everything, and I wasn't able to get a really good engine going. I was able to do a couple things for each of the actions, but I wasn't getting a lot for any one. And you got a lot when you played a card for resources.
Right, but that wasn't
you got
putting
a lot
my
of points.
pieces.
I know, but you got a lot of points. You got a lot of your cylinders in play. I mean, or back into to be able to be played. I didn't get all that. I had to waste turns just to try and get 2 or 3 cylinders back so that I can play tiles.
Well, no, I did the same thing as well, because I was only getting one cylinder.
But you got so much more stuff, and I didn't. And
Well, I mean,
that's where it hurt.
Yeah, well, I do think I agree with you as far as the card playing for just resource or for stuff, I will call it, because again, resources is the name of the cylinders. But to gain your tiles, resources, etc., I don't think it's as powerful as getting tiles, playing it on the board and building your engine around getting tiles, because that's what I had was I don't think I played a card for card, but maybe one time during the course of the game.
And I only did that because I got so much stuff.
Right, you got so much stuff, whereas I got stuff for playing tiles either upwards or adjacent.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
It wasn't as many things as you got because you had everything stacked on one, whereas I had two, kind of an even split between the two. But I still got enough to keep my engine rolling, where I didn't have to keep drafting playing actions to get tiles, because I would get a tile and a cylinder or resource or whatever back each time. So I kept kind of funneling my own engine. I only had like one tile or two tiles to choose from each time, but at least I had something to play.
Yeah. So no, I do think that there are certain strategies that are more powerful than others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something to keep in mind when you go to collect. Obviously, now for me though, I ended up with like 3 or 4 cards straight away that had just the card playing, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna run with it because it'd be stupid for me not to.
Yeah.
It's like the game is telling me which way to go, but that was really rough playing it
now
that way.
one thing I do like about the way they design this is they have 6 sets of starter cards of 3 designed where they have all the same letter or number to tell you these go together, and you can put them out for new players play that way where they select them. But once you have players know how to play and know what those cards are for, the real way you're supposed to play it is get 4 cards at random from the set, from the starters, and pass them out and draft them so you end up with 3 that you've chosen. And I think that's going to play a lot better.
Yeah,
Yes.
From the reviews when I was looking up the stats for the game, a lot of people really like the drafting mechanic of it.
Yeah, I think it's not a real heavy game where drafting's going to make a major difference.
But I think they made it sound like, from what I read on people's individual reviews, that it really added. It was more fun for them.
And I think it will be. We haven't played it that way yet
Right.
because we've had 2 rounds of playing it where we've had new people involved.
Yeah. So, all right, give it a score, guys.
I enjoyed it. I think I didn't love it. I certainly played it again. I think I would give it a 7. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a good game when you get some of the newer players into it. It's not too complex, so I think it hits a special niche, and it's still entertaining for those that have played a while. So I agree with you. 7. It's not my favorite, but it's all right.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 7.5. I think it's got enough in it to me as a starter game that you can still teach people, but it's still interesting. It's not something that I think is going to feel old quickly. Like, a lot of the entry level games
The replayability is definitely high for a fairly beginner level game.
Yeah, I think this is a little heavier. This isn't an entry level game, I wouldn't call it. It's probably a light to medium is what I would label this game as. It's got a very few basic actions you take, but there's a little more strategy than what you would get in a starter game. But if you got someone who's fairly advanced as far as a starter, somebody who's pretty logical or plays a lot, I don't know, maybe does puzzles or that kind of thing, and this is a starter game, you could probably pass it off.
Well, I mean, it's definitely more tactical than strategic.
Yeah.
So in many different ways, because you don't know what cards are coming, so you have to be able to react to what you get each round versus being able to plan out in the future. So I think that's why I think it's a little bit more lighter than some of the other games we reviewed.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely more tactical.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope to see you guys again. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you'd like to see more some of the games that we play at our table. Thank you guys. Bye.